Hi guys. Okay, so today's video is going to be about why your narcissist hates you. Okay, so basically, it's because they know that you see through them. And there's also jealousy that you're going to do better than them, and they can't stand it. You're competition to them. By seeing through them is you're the one that knows most or all of their deep, dark secrets. Like, for instance, my mother worked for an elderly lady. Now, my mom was an unlicensed home health aide. I dabbled in that too for a while. I actually liked it because older people, they're very wise, they know a lot, and they can be really funny, even when they repeat the same story like 800 times. But I guess they reword it sometimes and make it a little bit more amusing and exaggerate some details, but nonetheless, I love elderly people because they're really the answer to pretty much everything. They can tell you so many stories, things that you don't get in textbooks at school. So anyway, she was working for this elderly lady who was really rich, and she was actually well known in our hometown and very well respected, and she was also a doctor. She wrote books. So my mom worked for this lady, taking care of her for years. Now, from the get-go, when my mom started working there, my mom said, "Oh, she doesn't have much longer to live." And it was like every time she came home, she was just like, "Oh, she doesn't have much longer to live." It's like she was obsessed with when this woman was just gonna die. And narcissists, they love money, they love to see what they can get. And every time my mom worked for somebody, all she could talk about to me was what she's gonna get when that person dies. It's sickening. I saw it for myself. When my grandmother died on my dad's side of the family, mind you, my parents were never married and they broke up before I was born. When my grandma died a few years ago, we drove up to New York and stayed in my grandma's house. It was me, my dad, and my mom. My mom went shopping in that house like it was free day at Walmart. Now, I had a truck at the time, and I had to fit everything in it, and my grandma had left me her buffet table that's actually right behind me. I don't know, there was basically two living rooms in my grandma's house, one on like the first floor and one on the second floor. And the one on the second floor, there was like no TV. It was more like a family room that you sit in. There was like a couch and 2 chairs and a lamp, or I think 3 chairs, and a fireplace. It was very pretty. But it had a big empty area. I think they had taken the couch out at that time. They had already donated it or somebody took it. So it was just this huge open room, and my mom filled it with stuff. I mean, even to the point of going into the bathroom and taking a half of a bottle of body wash. And there was a lot of books that my grandma had. She was just taking everything. It was really disgusting. When someone dies, if you care about that person, you don't go grabbing everything you can get. You grieve. And here I am, like, it was I think it was the day after we got there or whatever. I was sitting in my grandma's old chair, looking out the window and, trying to remember many times that I've been in that house, happy times. I started bawling my eyes out. And my dad comes up and he says, hey, I'm sorry. And what's my mom doing? Running all over the house, finding stuff. Now, it's a tri-level home, but there's basically 5 floors. There was the basement, the first floor, second floor, third floor, and then the attic. And then the attic, I guess when my dad was younger, they turned the attic into my dad's room. My dad always lived with my grandma. He never moved. I think he moved out before I was born to live with my mom, but said that she was really freaking crazy after 2 weeks and moved out. So like I said, I'm sitting there grieving and she's just going over every single floor, just looking through everything and just running around and plopping everything on the floor that I'm at. And I'm looking at her in amazement. I'm sitting there crying and all she can care about is what she can get out of that house before any of my aunts, uncles, cousins, anybody can get stuff. She wants to get it first. She's of no relation. She shouldn't be getting anything out of that house. And then, after I had settled down, I started taking all that stuff and hiding it in various places in the house where I don't think she would look. Because this stuff wasn't for her. So what if some of it was going to end up garbage? I honestly didn't have room in my truck for it because, my daughter was there too, but she wasn't in the house. She was staying with my ex's parents that was like 45 minutes away. So when we actually left, I don't know everything that my mom took. But as I was driving back down here, I get a call from my uncle talking to me about all the stuff that's missing. And my mom admits to taking the stuff. And my uncle's like, well, this person wanted that, this person wanted that, that person wanted this. And so she took stuff that actual family members were wanting. So seeing through them, you see the greed. They focus on what they can get, and you know them because they feel comfortable enough with how much they have manipulated you and manipulated other people into not believing you, that they're comfortable enough to divulge secrets and talk to you about disgusting things such as what they're going to get from someone when they're going to die. Like when my grandma was on her deathbed, my mom called me up on the phone and said, your grandma's going to die. Before she passes, what do you want from the house? I was appalled. I really was. But she just kept egging me on by asking me what I wanted. I said, well, I'd like the buffet table. And I guess she wanted me to say more stuff, but that's really all I wanted. She had tons of furniture, tons of nice stuff. I just, I needed a buffet table and I wanted something of my grandmother's to remember her by. Eventually I'm going to be refurbishing it because I kind of ruined it by accident right there with some, I think some fruit or something, or no, potatoes, that's what it was, russet potatoes. They went bad and then there was like juice in it and it took off the finish. Anyway, I'm getting away from the subject. Okay, so seeing the real them, If you try to tell anybody about the things that they're saying, no one's going to believe you. I've done it. I'm like, well, this is all she talks about. And they're like, oh, you're full of baloney. The other thing is jealousy. Jealous of you and your accomplishments. My mom dropped out of school in 9th grade. And look at me, I dropped out in 11th grade. And she didn't even care. But I eventually went on to get my GED. But I also dropped out for a reason. I didn't want to drop out. I just, I kind of didn't really have a choice at the time. But she was always jealous of me because I'm smart. My dad, he's also very smart, but he hides it. He's kind of like Rain Man. Like, just, he makes himself look stupid. But then you can see his brain working, and then he's just really smart. And he could have done more with his life. I could have done more with my life. But anyway, yeah, so she was jealous of that. She was jealous. I had a father who cared about me, and when I was born, her friend that ended up becoming my adopted Uncle George, I guess you can say, not legally adopted, but he became another father figure in my life. He paid less attention to her, more attention to me, and so I had 2 father figures, and she didn't seem to have anybody that cared about her other than my brother. But it's not my fault that people care about me. She was jealous of the things that I got and how much my Uncle George doted on me. I was his world. And she didn't like it. And, okay. The other thing is, why they hate you is because you're not drinking their Kool-Aid. You're not buying what they're trying to sell. You see through them. You know that they are not who they pretend to be. Most narcissists pretend that they are a saint who never do anything wrong, and they have a child who is apparently psycho, and they are such a saint for loving that child and still putting up with them. Yeah. One example is my ex. He pretends to be this victim. He's a covert narcissist, where my mother is an overt narcissist. And he pretends to be this really cool guy who is such a victim and never does anything wrong. And it's always somebody else's fault. And I see through it. Narcissists usually are saying, oh yeah, my boss says I'm the best worker he's got. And that's how my ex is. He was talking himself up about work. Talking about, everybody loves him, and he's always given these tasks that only, I guess, the best people get, or something like that. I don't know. He just talked it up like he was the man at work and his bosses loved him. And that's actually something lots of narcissists do. The other thing is narcissists hate you because misery loves company. They're miserable with their lives for some reason, and they want you to be miserable too. So they hate you so that you will be miserable, just like them. There's like a small saying that they are energy vampires. They'll literally suck the life out of you You can be happy about something, and all they have to do is say one sentence, and it just draws all that happiness away. Like, you could buy a new car, and it could be really awesome, and the narcissist is jealous, and they're miserable because you got something nice, and then you post it up on Facebook or Instagram or whatever, and then the narcissist comments, "Oh, I hope you can afford it. I hope it doesn't get repoed." That's just something that they would say to draw the happiness out of it. Or they will say something like, "I bet it gets repoed within 3 months. I don't think you can afford it." They never let you have anything nice. And the thing is they get a thrill out of destroying your happiness. If you have a child and you announce your pregnancy on Facebook and say, "Yay, I'm happy, I'm pregnant with number 2," the narcissist might say something about like, "Oh my God, another one? How are you going to afford it? Or you barely take care of the one you got." Even though it's not true, they just bring the mood down. And usually they are, I guess, like comment stoppers. Like their comment will be the last one there because it's awkward and nobody wants to be the comment after that because they don't know what to say other than congrats. So anyway, that's why your narcissist hates you. It's not really your fault. They just need somebody to be their confidant, to, be the person they can tell all their dirty secrets to and know that those dirty secrets will be safe because nobody will believe you. And they hate you because you can see through them and you know who they really are. Anyway, if you have any other advice to share about why you think your narcissist hates you, leave a comment, let me know. And I'll see you later. Have a good one.